Hello again. January 31st, the official start of tax season. I'm excited. You're excited. No one's excited. I am often reminded of a famous quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes, Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. He told us that taxation is what we pay for a civilized society. Wow, you couldn't be more wrong, and that couldn't be more propaganda. Doesn't cost anything to be civilized. Doesn't cost anything to say hello. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to your neighbor, to smile at someone. Civility is free. Taxes are a pain. Before we get into the hot topics of taxes, I know you want to hear about property tax. I definitely think you want to talk about the state income tax. The gas tax, that's a hot topic. There's some guy in Berks County who thinks pension tax is a good idea for people on a fixed income, that we have a social contract from 30, 40, 50 years ago that we're going to take more money than we said we would. Those are all good topics, and we will get into them individually in the future. But first, I want to talk about how we spend money. Gas tax is a great example. We've already misappropriated $4 billion. If you're watching this, you probably live in Schuylkill County. Gas tax was meant for roads. I think Cascadilla had some smoother parts on its trail this year. I've spent some time out in Blackwood. I know there's some smoother parts of Blackwood than there are some streets in Schuylkill County. So, as a father of four who works a full-time job, my budget doesn't get adjusted if I spend more money than I have on groceries or insurance, my car payment, my mortgage. I can't simply go to my boss and say, you know what, I'm raising my income. I need more income, and I'm going to demand you pay it. I'm going to demand that you pay me 1% more, 2% more, 5% more. I can't next year or next week in my budget go, you know what, there were some cost overruns, and, well, we're just going to have to make them up in sales tax or some other form of tax. I don't have that luxury. I'm sure all of you watching this don't have that luxury. So before we go and talk about how do we raise more capital and how do we raise taxes and what taxes should we raise and what are fair taxes, what are unfair taxes, what's a tax loophole, who's a tax advantage, we need to talk about how we spend money. And I think that's where we need to start. We need to start with a balanced budget, and we should demand a balanced budget year after year after year. And I know right now someone's going, well, Pennsylvania had a pretty good budget year last year. But I believe the year before last year there was 670 million, maybe it was 640. Not an expert on the budget overrun, the cost overruns that were built into the last budget. And a lot of those things go without us seeing them, and we go, that's not too bad of a budget increase. But we should hold people accountable to the budgets that we build. There are departments and agencies that over the past 5 years, I think it's something like $1.5 billion in overruns above and beyond what we gave them as a budget. So I ask you, do you have a budget? I have a budget. We manage one week after week after week in our house because, you know what? We have to. And I think it's time that our politicians have to manage a budget and have to be held accountable. If you believe we need a balanced budget, if you believe we need to talk about, the taxes I talked about before, some of the other taxes, then stay tuned for more updates. If you think that Harrisburg's doing a pretty bad job with the money that they make us give them. Have a good night.